or maybe good evening, depending on where you are. It's certainly evening for me here in London. A very warm welcome to Gary Crisci, who is going to be bringing the next presentation to the table. Really looking forward to this one, looking at evolving enterprise architecture in the age of digital disruption. So thank you for joining us today, Gary. A very warm welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Philip. Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about integrating AI-driven capabilities into what we know as our more traditional EA frameworks. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. So one of the things that we've noticed is that capturing business scenarios is a very hard thing to do. Time-consuming task, requires a lot of manual interviews with functional users to kind of understand what they're doing. We find that there's disparate documentation, different formats, different ways it's stored or located. And as you talk to these people, you find that different pieces are scattered throughout different groups. And even after you've captured it, there's a good chance it goes stale and it's outdated and no longer relevant because things are constantly evolving and changing, right? So if we look at some of our frameworks like TOGAF, we know that we have a structure for doing this, but collecting that information, it's painful and it's a challenge, right? So what I'm looking at today is, well, how can we use this great new thing known as AI? Maybe it's not so new anymore, but it's definitely gained a lot of momentum in the last couple of years. So how can we shift that workload, right? Creating an agent that can interview users, right? We can guide it, give it structured questions through our training. We can design it to output what it takes in the format that matches TOGAF or whatever your documentation standards are, whatever frameworks you're using, even if you're using your own custom frameworks. This allows architects now to scale their efforts without having to bring on additional headcounts, people to go talk to those users. Okay, and it encourages a real-time, repeatable engagement where you can, do something as simple as just send an email to a user, say, "Hey, click on this link and answer a couple of questions," right? And you can do that on a recurring basis. You can actually build a culture where your users know, "Oh, hey, some things just changed. Let me jump over and go make an update with the AI bot." Okay, so what I looked at doing here, and this was really just a thought exercise, a very lightweight proof of concept, is how would I build, if I wanted to do this, an enterprise architecture business scenario assistant, right? And so I came up with a custom GPT that's aligned to TOGAF standards. Now, I'll tell you, when I first came up with the idea for this, I was actually at a Microsoft AI conference in New York City, and I was looking at more through the lens of Copilot Studio. But having left GE Healthcare back in February and currently narrowing in on my next role where I'm going to land, OpenAI's ChatGPT was just easier for me to access. I have a subscription, I have a Plus subscription. And it was easy enough to just use this and say, well, this kind of mirrors what I would be doing there. Perhaps if I did it more robustly, I think I built this out in about 15 minutes. So maybe no code, right? And so if I was going to do this in maybe something like Copilot or some other tool, really doesn't matter. Maybe I'd spend a couple more hours fine tuning it and tweaking it. And of course, that would evolve over time. But this will give you an idea, something just again, kind of what you could do really quick that's actually quite powerful. And don't worry about that screenshot there. I'm going to show you the details on that. That's just a screenshot. Don't try to hurt your eyes trying to read that. So we use ChatGPT Plus. I trained it using a TOGAF business scenario structure template. It gathers the key business context. It paraphrases that into a formatted document. It summarizes the content and it confirms the accuracy with the user. And again, this was all done very quickly, no code. I'm not a software developer. I'm more of a data and analytics specialist by career. And now I've been working in IT transformation and enterprise architecture for a number of years as well. Multiple options for an interface. And what I really like here is if you have the ChatGPT app mobile, you can actually do voice. So your users can actually just talk to this. They don't even have to necessarily type things in. They could be sit on their commute home. They could click on it and with their AirPods, they could just talk to it, explain, oh, here's what I do during the day. And then this agent is going to take that information and put it into a more standardized EA format for capturing that architecture to map it out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do presentation suicide here. We're going to do a live demo and see how that goes. I do have screenshots if it fails miserably, but hopefully ChatGPT will be nice and responsive. We'll get through this in a few minutes, right? So I'm going to play the role of a business user. This GPT is going to walk me through some questions, and then it's going to spit out a formatted scenario. Okay, so let's jump over here. Okay, excellent. Let's blow this up a little bit because I know you guys definitely are not seeing that so great. Yeah, that should be pretty good. Okay, so first things first, let's go take a look at how this was set up, right? So let's edit the GPT. Okay, so here's kind of over here on the side here. When I go in through ChatGPT, if you have a Plus subscription, I'm not sure if they allow this on the free subscription or not. They might. This one's the $20 a month subscription. I go in, I say I want to create my own custom GPT, and then I go into a configuration. So I give it a name, I give it a description, and then I give it the instructions. Okay, so again, this will all be if you want to download my presentation, or you can just ping me and I'll send it to you. I have all of this in like regular documents, PDF and stuff. Okay, so here you're a helpful assistant. TOGAF. Your role is to assist business users in documenting, etc., etc. Greet the user, explain your purpose, ask some questions, ask follow-up questions, etc., etc. Present the final format, be polite and concise, right? We don't want to get this we don't want it to piss someone off or really drag it out. Use the streamline output for the business scenario. And this is kind of the structure that I told it, right? So this is a very streamlined one. Obviously, you could get much more extensive in what you wanted it to spit out, but really just kind of give us an overview, background, purpose, etc., environment, some other things, who are the players, tools involved, problem summary. Okay. And then I told it avoid technical jargon, right? Unless the user brings that in first, because I'm assuming that I'm talking to more functional business people. And goal is to keep it well structured without needing to understand TOGAF, right? We're trying to insulate people. They shouldn't need to know TOGAF. We just want them to answer some questions for us. Here are some conversation starters. So when the person comes in, they can just click one of these and it'll take them right into that process. And then I also shared some additional, I uploaded to it the TOGAF standard. In this case, it was version 9.2, which is a PDF. It's like a 500-page PDF. And I also gave it an example of a TOGAF business scenario template. Okay, so it has that for reference back. So it doesn't just have to search the web. It has these reference materials available to it. But I did let it do some web searching. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to say, no, 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 just reference the documents I gave you, especially if you have your own customized framework. You may not want them to go out and get confused with something from Zachman or something like that. So some other stuff here. Again, a lot of this stuff, I'm not an expert per se in this. I know prompt engineering and stuff, and I'm learning like everybody else. But this was all, again, very straightforward. I even had ChatGPT tell me how to do it, even though I had a pretty good idea of what I was going to do to begin with. Okay, so that being said, let's come in now. We're going to kick this off. I'm going to say, I'd like to document a new business scenario. So it's thinking about it. Great, I'm here to help you. I'll laying out the instructions of what it's going to do. And then it's kind of asking me a bunch of stuff here. So it's got some different questions, right? What's the background? What's the primary purpose? Describe it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm going to do is, to make it easy to answer these questions, I'm just going to copy and paste the questions right back into the window. All right, so let's look here, and we're going to say, all right, what is the background or context? And I actually kind of thought this through ahead of time, so I'm just going to do some copying pasting so you guys don't get tied up with how long I type. All right, so I was asked to fill this, right? They're asking me what prompted this. Well, I was asked to fill it out. What's the primary purpose of documenting this? Okay, and so, okay, I guess the purpose here is to help understand the process and if it can be improved. And I'm going to say, briefly describe the business process or the environments involved. And I can say something like, here we go. I can say, well, it's pretty manual today. I download invoices to my PC, and then I email them to clients. When they send the payments, I go into the order system and apply the payment to their account. Right. So real manual process here. Right. So maybe a smaller company, not as mature with their processes, but that's okay. We're kind of keeping it simple to get this going. Who are the actors? So let's see. Department is accounts receivable. I'm an invoice processor who works for the senior manager of AR. What are the tools that are already used, right? So I could say, well, today I have an order entry system. I got Adobe Acrobat that I use to read the PDFs, and everything goes through Outlook, right, for the emails. Okay, so what are the desired business outcomes or the objectives? And that's when I can hit them with my own opinion as somebody who's doing this. Look, it would be great if you could automate this so I don't have to manually process each invoice. I submit that, agent thinks about it, and now it's going to kind of reiterate back to you what it thinks, giving you the opportunity to clean it up, maybe make some changes, right? So the business scenario was initiated. We know all that. Evaluate the current process. Scenario takes place within AR, invoices, et cetera, et cetera. So it's captured everything that I've told it very well. It's kind of formatted it and articulated it. Do you want me to revise anything before I finalize this? No, I think this is accurate. Okay, thanks for confirming. Here's your finalized version in a clean format. So now this matches that prompt that I told it and the templates that I uploaded to it. It puts it into that format cleanly, right? Just kind of scrolling through that. And would you like it in a Word document? Yes, please provide a Word document I can download. All right. And now what you could do is you could kind of have some instructions here where you tell the person, especially thinking more in terms of like a Copilot studio, I could have a SharePoint site. And I can say, well, okay, great. After you get that document, go ahead and upload that to so I'm going to download the file here. Give that a second. And I can say, all right, well, upload that to SharePoint. I could then have a more robust agent that's looking at what's in that SharePoint site because maybe I collect this information from like 10, 15, 20 people. Now I'm crowdsourcing, right? Now I'm crowdsourcing my architecture and I'm saying I can have this agent that my architects are working with that are saying, tell me what the business scenarios are for the AR department. It's going to read all of this feedback that people have given it, and it's going to start to now give you at the architecture level. So you see how we're able to kind of put that layer in between the functional users, right? Because I don't want them to understand TOGAF. I don't want to bog them down. I don't want to have to call all of them, but I'm getting it to where I need to be that I can now use that information to affect real business outcomes. I can go back to them and say, okay, here's kind of the business value proposition because here's what the problem is. So let me grab that document just to give you one last view of that. Did it upload it? TOGAF business. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to switch to this tab real quick. Here's that document. Right. So again, I can drop this in. So now I have a nice cleanly formatted, and I can get way more elaborate with, again, how I build this document out. But now if everyone who answers this, it goes into this format, it gets dropped in a SharePoint site or box or whatever. And then I'm using AI to read all of those and compile that information. It's consistent, it's timely, and I'm able to really make some great use of that. So let's jump back over here now. Okay, we managed to get through that without too much difficulty. It worked the way it was supposed to. So quickly to recap, what did we do? Well, we created something that's autonomous, right? The GPT guided the person through the conversation. I didn't have to prep them ahead of time. Anyone, any functional user, regardless of skill level, can walk through that and answer questions about what they do. It reasoned. It paraphrased what the person was telling them to confirm the interpretation and ensure that it got it right. And I played with this. I was able to go back and forth a bunch of times where I deliberately left something out or I gave it something ambiguous, and I was like, no, that's not right. You need to clear it up. And it keeps going until it gets it right. It took that and it made it structured, right? So now I have something that aligns with the way I want things to look. And it's flexible. It's fast, it's scalable, usable by both the architects and the business users. And so I can really get a lot of benefit out of this across the organization. I can spin up multiples of these very easily to target different areas. Maybe I want to target app owners. Maybe I want to target some data owners, data marketplace owners, or something like that. Or maybe my infrastructure people. I want to learn some more about the infrastructure as code that they're deploying. So I can have different agents that kind of talk to people about different things. All right. So in summary, wrapping this up, I can accelerate documentation, which is great, especially in the business architecture space, because I often feel this is the redheaded stepchild of enterprise architecture. It gets the least amount of focus because we tend to focus more on the IT, but the business architecture is probably the most important piece. So this is going to be a huge catalyst to improve how we bring business outcomes into what enterprise architecture does. We talked today a lot about the value proposition of enterprise architecture. This is where the value proposition is. We have to talk in terms of business outcomes. Okay. Train similar GPTs for capability mapping, value stream modeling, et cetera. Again, we can make a lot of these. We can reduce dependencies on that tribal knowledge and email chains, right? Again, things getting outdated. Maybe it's my contract. Think about your contractor base. How many people in your business that are not on your payroll have knowledge that you don't have, and they're going to walk out the door. So this is a great way to really hit them. You can even do exit interviews, agents, right? Where you say, by the way, before you leave, you need please fill this out and tell us what you were doing, right? Think about all the challenges we have when people exit and we've lost information. Okay, so now we're really establishing EA as a business partner rather than a bottleneck. We're enabling people to be more effective at what they do and talk the language that they need to talk. And again, kind of, I've been talking this theme through the whole thing, right? That crowdsource, take that. I talked to Janet, and then I talked to Sunitha, and then I talked to Bill, and then I talked to Ken, and I collected information from all of them. Well, I probably didn't get 100% from each one of them, but when I pull that together, I'm probably getting pretty close, right? Okay, so Q&A. I'll open that up if anyone wants to throw a question. I see a couple things. Would love to get the deck and AI template. On my next slide, I'm definitely going to share. I think Philip can confirm, but I'm pretty sure this information will be available. I'm happy to share it with anyone. I'm going to share my email as well as my LinkedIn and stuff, so you can definitely just ping me and I'll send you a zip with everything in it.
I thought I'd jump in at this point, Gary, just
Yep.
to let you know that, yeah, we will be collecting all of the slides from all of the speakers after the event, and we will be sharing them with everyone early next week. So you'll get an email from us with a link to a shared space where you can download all of the content.
And Philip, I can give you everything, including some like background information and stuff.
Yeah, of course, whatever you want to include, feel free to include.
Yeah, you can see like I have the actual scenario that I used. I had the this is how I fed it the information on TOGAF, right?
Yep.
So a lot of
That's
stuff
amazing.
out there. Here are those design specs, right? So I talked about that. This is how I actually gave it the design specs.
Amazing.
So I'll
Yeah.
share all this information with all of you. I think it'll certainly be useful, and I'm happy to share it.
Yeah. Perfect. There's another question here from Russell. It's more for
Yep.
me in terms of
Yes.
the replays. So everything goes into the replayer and it's available for 1 week. So the platform stays open for 1 week after the event, so that anyone that is registered can catch up on demand on any of the sessions that they've missed or anything they want to go back and rewatch. And then, yeah, early next week we will share the slides and all of that content with you. So.
All right.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Gary at this point? I think everyone's a little bit blown away by that, to be perfectly honest. So, good job. All right. Wonderful. Well, thanks.
That's what you want to do. You want to leave them speechless.
Leave them speechless. That's what we
See
like.